As a 50-year-old mother, Julie Loving was saddened to see the frustration and pain experienced when countless expensive medical procedures didn't yield a successful pregnancy for her daughter Brianna. After 4 years, Mom stepped into action to do more.
My mom and I were super close growing up. She is a super attentive parent, always super involved with all of our activities and our school events, and that kind of reflected into my struggles with infertility because she was super involved in learning about everything and just like super interested and there for me during those hard times. She was, if I joined like a support group, she would too, just so she could, understand and learn more about it. My husband and I got married in 2016 and immediately tried to start to have a family. And did not have any success, so we sought the help of Dr. Kaplan with Fertility Centers of Illinois here in Chicago to kind of guide us through IVF in that process. And it was a long, hard road of fertility treatment. We did have some pregnancies, but unfortunately those resulted in miscarriages along the way. So the final straw really was when one of my pregnancies required a D&C, and the D&C surgical procedure created damage so I could no longer carry. And that's when surrogacy was our only option on the table for a biological child. I was devastated. I didn't know if that was a possibility just because of how expensive surrogacy is. It can be $100,000 to $150,000 for just an attempt to do that. So it kind of felt like it was out of range financially. And I don't have any sisters or anyone, that would be able to carry as a gift or, without compensation. And that's when my mom stepped up. Mm-hmm.
When she went to her last appointment, when she was pregnant with her twins, I was with her and she had lost them. And I went home that day and I talked to my husband, or not that day, but like a couple days later, and told him that, I would love to be her surrogate and if I can, help her out in that way. But when she lost her twins is when it became more real, and when I started reaching out to her and mentioning it to her. So that's, yeah.
I think the lowest point with infertility, I feel like there are a lot of low points because there's only one high. And I think that's where it gets hard. I would say personally, for me, the lowest point would be like right before we decided to have my mom carry. And that would be like when I did lose my final pregnancy, which was twins, and then having the procedure that caused damage, and then finding out that I do have more of a permanent infertility that's not something that can be treated anymore, and that I really wouldn't be able to ever carry or deliver. And that was really hard to accept.
Honestly, I just sent her a text, so it wasn't in person. She texted me back and said, "You're crazy." And that was kind of the end of that discussion until I saw her in person, and she was just more reluctant at first, thinking that it wouldn't work, that I was too old.
When she texted me about it, I just laughed. And I think I texted her back. I was like, you're crazy, trying to be nice. I think I was in a really dark place, and I felt like it was almost laughable that she would say that. And I was being nice back, but also trying not to get upset because it just seemed like that was a really desperate move when I already felt a lot of desperation. So I just kind of laughed it off and told her she was crazy.
I've ran 19 marathons, qualified for Boston Marathon twice. I've done half Ironmans and triathlons, so I always have done a lot of swimming and biking and running, and I've always ate really healthy. Went to my doctor appointments every year for my checkups, and I've never been on any medications or anything. So I felt, even though I'm 50, I feel like I'm still in my 30s. I assisted Brianna on one of her appointments to where I got to meet Dr. Kaplan in person, and he actually thought I was her sister and not her mom, so that was a plus. That's when we kind of mentioned it to him, and he just kind of looked at me for a long minute, and he's like, okay, well, let me get back with you and see what if we can get this rolling. And that's when he agreed to start the testing. I found out through all the testing that I was actually post-menopause. So they had to reverse me back out of menopause with hormones. I was actually in my early 20s when I had my kids. It's very different. I actually thought it was going to be easy, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be, but I still had an easy pregnancy. I was mostly just really tired, really fatigued. But that was the only thing that I had during the pregnancy that was, an obstacle. It's been a rough last 4 years, just seeing Brianna go through her infertility, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever been through, is to watch your child suffer for 4 years. Joy, just happy she was here safe and sound. I do remember seeing them hold her up, and Brianna just crying and holding her. So yeah, it was a wonderful moment. This is when I hope I don't get emotional, but what these women go through is the absolute worst thing on earth. Infertility is ugly. It's a dark place, and I don't wish that on my worst enemy. It's terrible. And I every night pray for these women, because it is a struggle and there's nothing you can do to change it.
I feel like after going through infertility treatment, I am a completely different person than I was 4 years ago, for sure. I think it changed me for the better, though. I think I used to try to control every single situation in my life, and I realized with infertility that you don't have any control. Things are gonna happen, you don't really get a say, and it made me let go of all the small things and realize what's most important and what really matters. And I think that's the difference in me now and 4 years ago.